Hey guys, the Chicken is here. We are back to another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, very excited. We are getting into your Season 43 sneak peek. Yes, we are on the developer build, and we're going to go over everything for this season. So guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate those of you that throw in that code, CHICKEN, in the shop. And yeah, let's get into it. So first, let's talk... Season stats, guys. Boom, there we go. Shout out to OpDestroy for the beautiful graphic. So this season, it's an interesting one. We have, most notably, 50% building health. That's going to make for a more offensive season. You combine that with 150 troop damage, it's going to be a base race. It's going to be a base race, which is fine. We have 100% defensive building damage. We have 100% troop health to counteract that, so that's going to be kind of even. 150% troop damage, that's going to be at the end of the tech tree, obviously, after 70 hours. So, you know, we got a ways to go before we get there, but it's going to be interesting. And then we got 150 gunboat energy points to help us out. So without further ado, let's get into the tech tree. But first, it's a 3-week season. So yay, it's a 3-week season, not a 4-week season. That's always preferred. So here we go. Right off the bat, right out of the gates, here's what we're looking at the very start of the season. And a little disclaimer before we get into anything, just wanted to throw it out there. I tried to match up with OP a couple times. We got some server issues, so fingers crossed that everything is good and it's working. And yeah, so let's see what we got. So the cool thing right off the bat out of this season is we have the Hidden Warrior at the beginning of the tech tree. So they listen to us and they move that because obviously having him at 70R, that's no good. Yeah. So we start off with the mech, which is interesting. I don't see them being super viable because I think it's going to be all about the Super Warriors early on. And we have we have 4 rows here. Typically we have 3 before 3 Rs, but the third engine is actually on the 5th row technically. So a little bit deeper, a little bit more people are probably playing a 2ER for a little bit, but anyways, so we have heavies right over here on row number 7, which is, you know, I don't know, it's kind of where they're always at, I guess, but we got a super early Sky Shield, so that means Heavy Rush might be out of the question, or at least it's not going to be super strong. So Warriors might be, you know, it might be an early answer, but we've got Mines, we've got DBD, we do have the troop health, but we've also got machine guns, flamethrowers, possibly extra flamethrowers, so I don't know. I don't see the Super Warriors being that strong. That being said, we have flares, smokes, and shocks to go with them, so it could also be, you know, they could be very good. But actually, we don't need smokes to go with Hidden Warriors. That's the whole point of the Hidden Warriors, right? So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. We've got a lot of, like, really strong stuff really early on. Typically, we don't see boom cannons until we're ready to go to 4, but we've got early boom cannons. I mean, we've got heavy Zookas, potentially. And we've got the only building health right away. So we're going to be dealing with 50% building health pretty much the entire season. And like I said, I think based on the stats, if we pull those up again, based on the stats, I think the season's going to be more offensive minded rather than defensive. So, you know, there's a lot of defenses that are open at the beginning of the tech tree. I think that actually might be a trap if we look at the season long term. Because offense is going to be better than defense at some point, right? So the faster we get there, while still making our ranks, that's probably going to be the better move. We also have critter launchers really early on. We can't seem to escape these guys in warships. They're just everywhere. But, yeah. And then our first hero, we have Brick right in the middle. We don't have to get her. We can take the long way around with the defenses, or we can skip all that stuff. But I think everyone's going to take the top path because we got heavies and boom cannons. We're most likely going to need both of those. Probably early, too. That's probably going to be an early meta. So, you know, we do have to come back and get the building health. And you see right here, the building health is not connected to anything. So that's actually, you know, that's a ways away. So most people will probably skip that at first because that means you got to get brick, you got to get mortars, and yeah. But it's kind of cool too because then it's like, are you going the offensive skip ahead route? Do you want to go to rocket choppers early? Do you want to go to bombardiers early, or do you want to play defensively? So we're going to see what pans out there. My guess is we're going to lean towards more offense, but we'll see what happens. So once we get to 4 ERs, we have a nice fat key vacuum right here with the medics. Then we have a little baby multi-prototype node. Obviously, it depends on what we're using here, but usually the shock blaster is a good bet. People are still using warriors, then obviously the microwaver is going to be really strong. Probably one of those two. I don't see the laser being that good, unless maybe heavy Zuka is good. I don't know. So yeah, then as we move forward here, this multi-node, we have 2 boom cannons, so that's important to note. That's going to be really strong. And then obviously we have grenadiers on the perfect node, which is out of the way. We don't have to unlock them. Rocket choppers right over here. A lot of guys will be sprinting towards those. We have the tank vacuum right in the center, which is, they don't have a ton of key vacuums this season, so it's not the worst thing in the world to just slow down the pacing a little bit. Yeah, and then you can see here we've got boom mines, we've got shock launchers, all before 5 ER. We've got all the good stuff super early this season, which is going to be interesting. Then we got another prototype node way over here. So yeah, it's like we don't have the defensive stats, but we've got all the good defenses like right out of the gates. So that's going to be really interesting. So after 5, that's when we start getting into the more offensive stuff. We've got bombardiers, troop health, laser rangers, seekers, and artillery. The only defensive node between 5 and 6 is the sky shield. So this is probably around the time we're going to see the meta kind of shift from everyone that went super defensive really early on, doing well, to whoever skipped some defenses and went to offense first. And, they're adding that troop health. Maybe they're adding the artillery. Maybe laser rangers are going to be super OP. Or, of course, there's going to be people that jump to seekers too, right? So, yeah, I think that's when we're going to kind of see that meta shift from defensive to offensive. And then I think from there on, it's going to stay offensive for the rest of the season. We're forced to unlock Bullet this season, which is kind of interesting. Bullet's usually like a very expensive, kind of rabbit hole on his own. So it's interesting to see that we're giving him this season. And that's going to be cool because we have Bullet, and then we have heavy choppers, and then we've got a bunch of good stuff. We've got troop damage right here. We've got rocket launchers right there. So that's going to be interesting to see, what kind of comes of that. They have rocket launchers so late in this season. They come at the same time as heavy choppers. So I don't think they're going to be as magical as they usually are, because usually when you get rocket launchers, I think I called them choppers, usually by the time you get rocket launchers, they're in like 4 ER or sometimes 3, sometimes, really early in 5. Not usually after 6 anymore. I think they used to be like that, but not so much lately. And they were always a massive push point to get your rockets juiced up because, we were using things like heavies and bombardiers and stuff that fizzled really easily. But, I mean, with, what's the DBD this season? Is 150? With 100 DBD, they're going to pack a punch, but they're not going to be anything that we haven't seen before or been ready for. So, yeah. So, heavy choppers into 7, that's probably going to be the route that most people go. We do have a nice multi-node over here with an extra rocket or an extra shock. Most people would probably go with the extra shock, but that's going to be, something to note as well. And then we move into the very end of the tech tree here. We've got our last 150 troop damage. We've got our last 100 building damage, and we got an extremely expensive mine node here. Thankfully, we don't have to get it. And then we got our gunboat energy for 34 keys. So it's, I think it's a cool season. I like the layout of everything. I'm hoping that there's no issues with it. I know Zedmont was doing a lot of testing on that, so shout out to him. But yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that everything's going to go well on day 1. Of course, guys, I am going to be streaming right here on this channel. I think it's 4 a.m., I'm hoping. Sunday morning. I have Monday off, thank God, this time, so I'm not going to be a zombie for 3 or 4 days. But, yeah, so I'm excited to take a look at this and see what's going to come of it, but... Yeah, it's we've got a lot of really good stuff really early on, so I think that first day or 2 is really going to be crucial. Don't just unlock everything. The best bet is always to sit back, wait, let the chicken make the mistakes on stream, and then you guys, figure out what to do from there. But yeah, I don't see mechs. It's so funny because they always name the season about the mechs when they're like totally useless, and I think this is another one again where they're just not going to be used like at all. We didn't talk about riflemen, but I don't know. Riflemen, warriors, maybe we can use them to take out some mines. It's really hard to say just looking at this tree, but it's really interesting too because we've got a lot of really good stuff. We got a lot of tools to work with, and I like the layout honestly. Just looking at it from right now, like it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, and it seems pretty balanced given the stats. It's hard to say until we actually start playing, but yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is going to wrap it up for the video today. Make sure to leave a like if you found it interesting, entertaining, or informative. Catch you next one, guys. Check it out. Back.